Hey guys, come along with me to find out if I'll have a job or not within the next 2 to 3 months. Yep, you heard me right. 7 months pregnant, losing my job. And you know who I have to thank for that? Donald Trump. He put in executive orders that all federal employees must work in office come April 28th. And that's literally not possible for me because I live in South Carolina. The office I work for is in Arizona and there is no regional office within 50 miles of me. So, found out today that if you do not have a home base by April 28th, you will be let go, which is great because, like I said, 7 months pregnant. So, come April, I will be popping out a baby. Here's her adorable clothes that I bought her, probably the last clothes I'll ever be buying her because I'm about to file for bankruptcy. Yep. So, April will come, I will pop out a baby, lose my job, and file for bankruptcy. So, you know what? 2025 is really just off to the greatest start. So once again, shout out to anybody who voted for Donald Trump. You're literally ruining my life. Not just mine, everyone's. But yeah, found out today, really nothing. Only that I will be unemployed in 2 to 3 months. So I will be posting on here every day until I make money like Avery Woods. Thanks. Bye.
You guys, I'm really confused, so maybe you can help me out. How bad exactly am I supposed to feel for government employees losing their jobs in this new administration or having to justify their jobs in front of 25-year-old kids that Elon Musk has brought in? Exactly how bad am I supposed to feel? Because you want to know how much notice I got that I was non-essential? None. No notice. In fact, on March 15, 2020, I was on my way to a shift when Governor Newsom announced that all of the bars and the restaurants in the state were closed. So that took care of that. That's how much notice I got, literally on my way to a shift. And in fact, the day prior, I had worked my last shift at my other job, which was tutoring, except I didn't know it was my last shift at the time. I lost both of my jobs overnight and didn't even realize it was happening until after the fact, because of how non-essential I was. In fact, I was non-essential for over a year, and there was no justifying my position. In fact, every single time that I tried to point out and argue for the fact that almost all of us, pretty much all of us, were going to survive COVID, but we may not survive it financially or in terms of emotional health. If you keep telling us we're non-essential and keeping us locked down, I was basically told to shove it. So there was no justification. There was no notice when it came to millions of us being deemed non-essential, even though our jobs are essential to us. So forgive me if I don't have any tears to spare for these federal employees. It sucks to be told you're non-essential, doesn't it?
Hey everyone, it's Peace back again with another video. Today I wanted to share just some federal employees reacting to their termination. I finally have access to TikTok again, so I was hoping I can utilize it to share just some response on how people are feeling overall with the mass layoff that's going on. I hope you guys are all taking care of yourself. If you're currently facing mass layoff, please remember on better days ahead of you. When one door closed, another door open. God will never put you in a situation you can't handle.
I have a question for all the people that are so excited about Elon Musk and Dodge and excited that these federal employees are losing their job. Are y'all okay? Because I don't think y'all are okay. A couple things you have to pay attention to. A lot of companies receive federal dollars. So, therefore, if they're slashing the budgets and things like that, or slashing employees, your company could also be on the chopping block for having to have layoffs. Now, I don't know about you, but now you're competing with all of these hundreds of thousands of people that lost their job. If something were to happen to your company and they have layoffs, which has been happening. So now, instead of, potentially going up against a couple of people or a couple of hundreds of people, now you're going up against thousands of people. And you know that whole thing about, oh yeah, we want to make sure this merit. First of all, DEI was still merit based anyway, but whatever. This whole merit thing, you think that you will be qualified for these positions now, going up against people that had 20 years as an accountant for the government or auditor? versus your 10, you're not looking good to get a job. I'm just saying. So I have no idea why some people are like, oh my goodness, it's great. I'm glad they're slashing these prices. Slashing these employees. I'm glad they're removing this, federal agency, or wanting to remove this federal agency. Not thinking that you may have to compete with these people. And I hate to break it to you, you're probably not going to win. You're probably not. And I'm just going to also say this, just because I think it needs to be said. If you have a job currently, and unless that job is causing you mental or physical pain, stay at that job. This ain't the time to be job hopping. I'm just saying. You may go to a company and they may go restructure, and now you don't have a job anymore. So I'm just saying, be mindful. Unless it's really stressing you out, or it's physically too much for you, stay at your job. We gotta figure out things are gonna work out. Stay at your job. Don't go over here and then get laid off. That's pointless. Anyway, y'all have a great day. Bye.
Hi. So, because of Trump, I lost my job. Yeah, my entire department, we lost our job. I was one of the head researchers in charge of discovering how much wood a woodchuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood. But according to our government, that answer just doesn't matter anymore. I mean, all the years, time, research, gone. Just like that. And you know the craziest part? Is now the world will never know how much wood a woodchuck could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
So when does the golden age of America start? Because right now, I'm just seeing a lot of good people losing their jobs and a lot of planes crashing.
Did I miss the memo that came out that it was like, federal employees don't work type of thing? Like, when did the narrative become federal employees don't do no work? Like, are people getting federal employees mixed up with Congress? Like, do they think that we take extensive amount of days off or breaks and don't work? Like, what are people thinking? Because I'm seeing a lot of people on different posts like, oh, federal employees don't do this, they don't work, they don't do this, they don't do that. They just sit there and get fat. And where did that come from? Because, baby, we bust our ass. And when I tell you bust, I'm talking about down to the white meat. And for a lesser pay more often than not, because it's more job security. So I've discussed this before on my page. The federal government cannot pay equivalent to private sector. So anytime you see a civil servant, just know we're making far less than what we are worth. Okay? Like, I know, particularly in my skill set and the amounts of money that I am responsible for overseeing, I could go make $250,000 in private sector. Like, what are we talking about? This whole narrative of they don't do nothing, they don't work. Like, help me out. Did I miss something? Did I miss a memo? Like, what came out? Because it is blowing me. And I'm like, do y'all not realize most federal employees are like between GS7 and maybe GS12? You don't have an influx of like SESs and GS15s. Like, those positions are vectored and slotted. So most of the meat is in the middle class. What? We don't work? I'm like, I brought my kids to work with me. Like, taskers, and a lot of times all these people that be talking, especially when you work for Department of Defense and with military, when y'all see these military members deploying, at some point, more often than not, it's a civilian attached somewhere doing some work in the background to get them to their deployment sites. Like, are y'all not understanding The Veterans Hospital, the VA and all that is mainly civilians. Like what? What? Help me understand this narrative, y'all. Help me. I'm trying to figure it out.
Well, y'all got what y'all wanted. Y'all wanted us federal workers back at work, and because we were at home twiddling our thumbs and playing tennis and golf according to Trump, and we ain't the only thing back. Guess what else is back? Traffic. It ain't like it really went nowhere, but it is 100 times worse now. All I hear is horns and impatient people, heavy feet people, ready to get to work because they already late. And now they gotta sit in traffic even longer because all of us federal workers that y'all was hating on and felt we needed to bring our tails back to work. Now you can do some work, and Trump is getting rid of all the scragglers. We're all back. So now you're gonna have to get up a little earlier. You're gonna have to have a little patience. You're gonna have to sit in traffic a little longer. So get you a cup of coffee from the home before you get in your car, because you're gonna be in there a little longer now, because we back now. Y'all wanted it, and here you go. You got it.
Y'all, working for the federal government these days is basically like the Hunger Games. You're just waiting to get chosen to get you up out of here, because I was laid off from my federal position, and I don't work there anymore, so I will just say what agency it was. I was laid off from the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and then but I already knew that the layoffs were coming. After the election results and Donald Trump won that election, I was like, yeah, it's a wrap. I'm going to start looking for other jobs because I already knew that was coming. So I was laid off. A week later, I started a different position as a legal analyst in a different government job, and now that position has been rescinded as well. And I'm like, okay, at this point, I'm done with the federal government until we get a change of administration, because this is crazy. So I'm going back to being a private sector mommy because A, y'all not about to keep wasting my time, and B, I'm never going to go to the office in Washington, D.C. I live in Florida.
Today I found out that I lost my job. Ever since Donald Trump became president, he was making everyone lose their jobs. And today, I found out it was me. I was one of the thousands and thousands of people who lost their jobs. I was doing a study, a federal granted job. I was doing the study for wheels. Yes, wheels. If, in fact, the wheels on the bus go round and round. And we almost had an answer. But my federal funds were cut. And we'll never know. What I'm going to do is try to post for that other job. It's still out there posted. It's a study of fish and aquatic life. And if fish actually shit in the water, that seems like a good study and a good job. And we'll see. I'm going to go and apply for it.
Federal employees Trump wants to see either bow down or disappear. He doesn't have the authority to fire you. He doesn't have the authority to buy you out, and he does not have the authority to command your loyalty, because those are not powers given to the president. So he's asking you to do it for him, because just like on the spending freeze, he's poking around for easy wins, because difficult wins require him to do his actual job. And that's something he just can't do, because he doesn't understand his own job, just like he doesn't understand you, what you do, who you work for, or why you show up for work. He doesn't understand the selflessness required to be a civil servant, and he doesn't understand serving a cause greater than himself. He doesn't understand the dams you operate, the power grids you inspect, or the foods you help keep safe. He doesn't understand the beauty that national parks protect, and he doesn't understand the communities and the people you serve. He doesn't understand what you do for this country, and he can't understand why you do it. Because at his most fundamental level, Trump is a broken, failed man full of resentment. He pities himself for being born without the gene required to feel empathy or understand sacrifice. How a person could work without ego, lavish privilege, recognition, or praise. So he's lashing out like a cornered dog bound by the chains of checks and balances. You should not let him fool you, because he does not understand his own limitations, and he won't understand it when you tell him he doesn't deserve your resignation and he doesn't deserve your loyalty, but you'll work through him and past him all the same.
Good morning, TikTok. So I was thinking last night about the nuclear staff that was fired and how they're like, oopsie, we gotta hire you back. And these things are going to continue to happen because they're not looking at jobs for how critical they are what these people do. They're not looking at that or merit. It's simply an algorithm that they put in that probably has words like diverse and equity, inclusion, and if anywhere in these jobs it says that, those people are getting fired. And on top of that, these decisions are being made by 19 and 20-year-olds that have no idea how critical these jobs are or what these people do. So these things are going to happen more and more. And it's really going to leave us where some services are not going to be anymore. Some critical jobs are not going to be there anymore. And some of these jobs, the people that hold these skills, there's not a lot of them. I mean, it's really hard to get a government job. It's not that easy. It takes about a year. A lot of these people are also veterans. So that's something also to think about. And for the people that are saying, oh, this is what we voted for, they're taking away waste and abuse. No, they're not. Because if they were, they would do a proper audit and really audit and say what's working, what's not working, and sit down with a panel of people that know. Not just fire because they don't like that this job has the word diversity in it or inclusion or climate or anything like that. And the other thing, I was wondering, if my child was doing that and she was 19 and she was working and doing that and firing all these people, I will be highly embarrassed and ashamed as a parent. I will be highly disappointed because I didn't raise my child to do that. And I also understand that they're probably paying them or they promised them something because Doge has spent over $12 million. Where does that money go? And as a 19 or a 20-year-old to be making that sort of money or being promised something, that's a lot of money they wouldn't be making in an entry job. So as a parent, I would be, you sold your soul for money or for whatever they promised. When are you going to realize that following order, that you are going to say, I was just following orders is not an excuse? And I hope that my child never does something like this. Never encourages and is part of firing thousands of people that have kids, that have families that need this paycheck. I hope my child never does that. I really do. I hope I've raised my kids better. I really do. And it's a shame what's happening. And again, for all those people that are cheering, I hope you look inside yourselves, because if this was to happen to you, what would you do? Especially if you knew you were filling a critical position, but they're not firing you because of that. They're just firing you because somewhere in somewhere in the job description it says diverse. How would you feel about that? It's not getting rid of waste and abuse. If it was, they would have hired the right people to do it, not a bunch of not a 19 and 20-year-old that have no idea what they're doing, have no idea what these jobs are. So, in conclusion, we are going to see more of this. And once again, putting so many people out of work all at once is going to cause a strain on the economy. And I will finish with this. If you thought toilet paper was the worst of your issues when it wasn't wrong, we're going to have more problems than just having a lack of toilet paper.
Federal employees, it's sad to say that thousands of federal workers were terminated yesterday, many over a Teams call. I'm going to go live at 3 p.m. Today is Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2025, so let everybody know. If you've been laid off or if you're scared you might be next, you are not alone, and I want to kind of walk through some thoughts I have about this. As a federal employment attorney at 3 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to go live to walk through what's happening with these firings, rights as federal employees, even for those people in probation, and non-legal stuff, the steps to protect your career, financial future, how to move forward. So if someone needs to know this or think it might help, please help me get this out to them. I'm here to help. Drop live in the comments if you're joining, or tag people that you think might benefit from this. You deserve answers and support. I'm going to try to provide what I can at 3 p.m. Eastern. So I'll see you all around then. And thank you for your support.
I'm a federal worker and I might not have a job next week, but I think God knew what he was doing when he gave me the courage to put myself out there and be a TikToker and be in the affiliate program. I joined TikTok October 24th and I got accepted into the affiliate program November 1st. So it didn't take long. And right now I have about 2,000, a little over 2,000 followers. I'm not getting followers a lot, but I have been making, listen, I can pay my mortgage. I can pay my car note. You know, the health insurance is going to take care of it. God's going to keep us healthy. How about that? But, you know, I am not afraid. I'm really not afraid. And another thing I did was I met a young lady here on TikTok and her name is Trina and she sells digital products and I bought a course. God knows what he's doing. I set up my account and I have my affiliate program and the course is so good. I'm learning so much. So that knowledge that I'm acquiring from that course, I'm going to use it to apply it to my TikTok shop, my Etsy shop. I make soaps and hair oils. I'm a maker. So not having my federal job is not going to affect me too much. It's going to make me feel insecure because I have that consistent check that comes in every single pay period. But I'm just going to have to grind. I'm going to use my affiliate marketing. I'm going to use my new digital products. I've set up my store. I've set up another TikTok account so I can run it from there. And I'll be fine. But you know, my prayer for everybody going through this right now is that you'll find your talent. I've always known my talent, but I've been working on something to earn while I'm not working on something that I own. And that's how I've changed it. I'm beginning to work on something I own because when you own it, it cannot be taken away from you. And that's the mindset I'm going to have right now. So I'm going to work my digital products. I'm going to work the things that I like, my affiliate marketing. I'm going to continue making my soaps and oils because this is something I naturally like to make and continue to put myself out there. I am a bit of an introvert, more of an omnivert because when I do go out, I do enjoy it, but then I don't want to do it again. But I've been able to break out of that and just be, natural. And that's it. So my prayer for everybody is that you can overcome this period. I'm not sure where it's going, but God has a plan, right? So let's see what God has planned for us and how we're going to emerge from it. Because right now it seems to be entering a very tumultuous phase and I don't want to say much. I have a gag order, so... Anyway, guys, thank you so much for always liking my posts, buying my stuff from my showcase and showing up for me. Continue to do that because I really appreciate it. The next couple of months is going to be very uncertain for us federal workers and especially my position. So yeah, I'm going to keep posting. I'm going to keep grinding and, trusting God. And that's it. Thank you so much. And check out my showcase.
If you're in the federal workforce or were and you were recently let go, please go ahead and message me and I will get you connected to a group of people who are willing to support you emotionally and help you through this really hard time. This includes a group of veterans, myself, and some other people, but mostly vets and military affiliated people that want to help you get through this. What happened to you is unjust and wrong, especially when you were serving our country properly and just doing your job. I'm really sorry to all the military spouses that had to deal with this rapid change, especially those that had to go back to work when they have kids at home, and that remote work was a way to make up the shitty money you get with, enlisted personnel. Just feel free to send me a DM or a message here and I will get you connected. You can also check out the Heavy Hitters Project on here. It's just Heavy Hitters Project, and you can look up their information there. But it is easier to just get in contact with me directly, and I will just get you invited to the Discord and get you hooked up with them. I'm the social media weirdo. The veterans are usually doing stuff. Thanks, guys. You'll be okay.
Today's February 16th. It's a Sunday. It's been just a few days since the mass illegal firings of federal employees started on Thursday, February 13th. And already, the Trump administration has had to backtrack on a couple groups that have been fired. See, the first was the National Nuclear Security Administration firing of 300 people. They've asked those individuals to come back to work, saying, psych, you weren't fired. And now Health and Human Services is saying, hey, all of those doctors we fired and nurses we fired that were helping indigenous people on reservations and providing care for Native Americans on reservations in low-income areas where they don't have access to health services, psych, we want you to come back to work, and we want you back at work on Tuesday after the holiday on Monday. So this is just showing that the Trump administration doesn't know what federal employees actually do and what services they provide for the citizens of this country. And here we are. They're already backtracking on things. We'll see how many more jobs.
Like many in my industry, in the foreign affairs international aid sector, I got furloughed today. And like many in my industry, I'm devastated. Not just because of the loss of our jobs and for many the loss of their lifelong careers, but because of the devastating impacts to the communities that we serve abroad. Because although my entire LinkedIn feed is full of people that have lost their jobs, not furloughed, terminated, all they can think about is the people that they serve abroad. What is going to happen to them? And I get it. Foreign aid is not popular. What I'm starting to really understand is not only is it not popular, but it's also deeply misunderstood. Because contrary to what this current administration would like you to think, the United States does not disperse foreign aid because it is just so kind and we just have all this extra money to go around. No, the US disperses this aid as a piece of its larger grand strategy to maintain its superpower status. And this is in no way meant to reduce the amazing work that the people in my industry do. However, this is just to explain to you that the money that we do get, that we disperse to communities across the world, that we use to support communities across the world, is not from the kindness of the American government's heart. It is a strategic tool called soft power. And this is where the MAGA, Make America Great Again folks, in my opinion, lose the plot, because part of what makes America great is our superpower status. In the international landscape sphere, we are something called a hegemon. We are a dominant superpower. And that is a status that the United States has intentionally maintained. Case in point, our feuds with Russia and China. Feuds that, although are militaristic, are largely ideological. And how do we win ideological warfare? We win the hearts and minds of people. And how do you win the hearts and minds of people? You make yourself likable. You make yourself likable so that you can get away with war crimes. You make yourself likable so that you can do the same thing as Russia and China, and people are like, oh, but it's the US though. They give money back. They help. They give us aid. And the irony of the whole thing is that soft power is cheaper. It takes longer, but it's cheaper. Our aid budget is less than 1% of our federal budget. Our military budget is about 13%. And I hate to talk about my industry in this way because I don't think it should be reduced to this. I believe that Western nations like the US that have profited off the backs of everyone else have a duty to give back. But for those that voted for this current administration thinking that they're going to make America great again, just know that they're doing quite the opposite.
If you're a federal employee, listen up, this could impact your job. The Trump administration has just agreed to temporarily pause layoffs at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, after a federal judge stepped in. But here's the bigger picture. The administration has already filed all probationary employees at CFPB. A 95% reduction in force, RIF, was reportedly in the works. Other agencies like USAID are facing similar legal battles over sudden workforce cuts. But for now, the CFPB can't fire anyone except for cause, and another hearing is set for March 3rd. But if you are in a federal job, especially at an agency facing restructuring, this is a critical moment to stay informed and protect your rights. So what does this mean for you? If you're in probation, you might be vulnerable. It already might have happened. If you've got a career status, you have legal protections, but the landscape is shifting. Drop a comment if you're concerned about your job security and follow me for real-time updates on what's happening inside the federal workforce. You need the truth without the noise. Here, federal jobs are at risk, and we want to continue to keep you informed as this unfolds. Please go to the link tree in the first link, follow me, and across social media, but also get access to our newsletter so you're not relying on the algorithm. We put out a daily newsletter. It has 3 news stories we think everybody should be following. It has links to all of our social posts so you can see right then what we've covered, what you want to review, if you want to review it. And then there's also a daily mindfulness tip and a daily legal tip. I hope everybody's finding this informative. Take care and have a good day.
So here's a question. How are all these job cuts, the federal government, impacting jobs across the country, not necessarily those in government? Well, we asked somebody who studies this for a living, and here's what he had to say.
If you reduce the federal headcount, and that's no matter where it is, whether it's in Washington, D.C. or any branch office anywhere across the country, say, IRS or anything else, you're going to lose that person's not only just that job, but whatever household spending would be associated with their earnings. We call that an induced effect. Roughly speaking, you could say as that flows to the economy, that's maybe another 0.4 jobs for every federal job. But then the reductions that Mr. Trump and Mr. Musk are talking about also impact federal spending, which flows through a lot of others. So recently, and now there's some court challenges to it as well, but you think about reductions in the grant funding going to universities or health science research centers. Well, those turn into jobs that are not necessarily federal jobs to begin with, but it's other jobs, and you have those impacts.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
Seeing some people on this app not only laughing, but celebrating that federal workers are losing their jobs is exactly what's wrong with this country. Instead of worrying about immigrants so much, we need to ship some of y'all asses up out of here. You are the problem.
Man, I thought the unemployment rate in the job market was bad before, but now it's going to be really bad with 220,000 people fired by Donald Trump. Make it make sense. He was supposed to give us cheaper eggs, give us cheaper grocery prices, but yet the first thing he does is firing hundreds of thousands of people from the government. A lot of them that he mistakenly fires and begs for them back not 24 hours later, especially in the case of the avian flu like he just did. And groceries are at an all-time high. Eggs are $8 where I live right now. And the federal workforce is now entering the unemployment lot, and we all don't have a chance at any jobs. I would just love for you guys to explain what you guys voted for, because I'm not seeing a lot of you guys getting what you voted for at all. I'm only seeing him tear down the entire systems that we're all functioning on, and then the next day begging for half of those employees back because he's so uneducated he has no idea who he's even firing.